Hey guys, it's Meredith Leah McCormick for World Bride Magazine, and we are having a great time with our summer series. As you know, this is all to get you guys engaged with us on all our social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So, guys, this segment is very, very special to me, and all of them are special to me. But this is one of my very, very best friends, my mentor, the love of my life, and as I like to call it. This gentleman is Rodney LoveJones, and I am so excited to have a conversation with him and let you guys into his amazing world. Rodney!
Hey Meredith, how you doing?
How are you,
Thanks
my
for
love?
having me on. I'm wonderful, thank you.
You look
This is
great.
really great.
You look
Thank
amazing.
you.
You look amazing. I
Thank
love your
you.
artwork
And so do
behind
you.
you.
Thank you. And the braids are good.
Thank you.
The
I'm
braids are
trying.
good.
You know who did it? Our girl, Deborah Hairbay.
Deborah
Deborah
Hairbay, yes.
Hairbay, master braider. So I really want to get into the conversation about how we
hmm
initially met. And I'm gonna embarrass you. I have to say it. So for all my friends, I have to tell you, I met Mr. Rodney LoveJones when I was younger and hotter. And I swear to you, this young man was so gorgeous. But unbeknownst to me, I was following him around on a photo shoot. We were in Bonaire, West Indies. And I just saw
Yeah.
this beautiful black man. And I was like, oh my God, he is just gorgeous. And he was the
Remember we were in
stylist
that
on
but
set.
remember we were in the airport? The airport we were in was like deserted. It was like deserted. It was so bizarre. I'm sorry.
No, I
I
mean,
didn't say that.
it was just so amazing just meeting you. But when I saw that
Oh,
you were the fashion stylist, I think I followed you around like a lost puppy dog. Like I literally was like, but I was just so attracted to you, and I've never seen a black man literally in a position like this styling women. And we were doing 3 shoots for Black Elegance magazine, and Diane
yeah.
Hendy was there. Deborah Hairbay was there, who introduced me into the industry. And
Yeah.
it was just a bunch of young, black, talented artists that was in another country and treated by like royalty. Because I believe the Ministry of Tourism of that country hosted a dinner for us at his house.
Wasn't that the president though? I think that was the
Yes,
president.
yes.
It was the
Can you
president. Yeah.
imagine? Can you imagine? But it
Yeah.
it was so foreign for them to see a group of black professionals that
Yes.
literally they asked the oddest questions, and we were kids, so we were like, what?
What was very interesting, we had no idea during that time that the United States led everything. So when it came to style and music and certain cultural, pop cultural things, the United States led all those things. We had no idea. We were just being young and free and expressive and creative, So going to another place like that to see how much influence we have, uh, it really resonated with me at that time. We were very young, and it started to make sense as we did more traveling. But that trip in itself made me pay more attention to how I should behave in the world, or how I should find myself in the world creatively. You know what I mean?
And I totally do. And that's leading up to our conversation today. I met you
Yeah,
as a stylist.
yeah,
Can you tell? But you've now evolved into this
yeah.
amazing, complete artist. Can you tell people how you even got involved in the arts and culture, music, paintings, gifting, and all of this other stuff? Food as well.
So what's very interesting, I was always a creative child. And and as most Black Americans understand, families don't understand creativity. They want you to get a job that's going to give you some benefits and things like that. And I was always a creative child. So I went away to college, and I realized in college, my major was fashion. And I realized college was like slowing me down of the process that I had envisioned for myself. I did a few internships, which were cool. And then I left school and I came back to New York and I became an assistant. One of the people who is a veteran in this business who I love dearly is Tyron Mays. Tyron Mays was like my best friend. He and I would assist and do styling jobs for tons of people. And then I met Susan Moses, who's one of my dearest friends. And I stayed in the fashion industry for several years as a stylist. And then I worked as an assistant at modeling agencies as an agent. And I moved on from there and I started working with children, and I created a children's agency, and that space created a montage of careers that spanned it from film and TV and things like that. So what I did was I managed children's careers as if they were adult models. They had the same rates and all things like that. It was unheard of at the time,
Wow.
And then the kids started getting too old. They started growing really fast. And I said, what else can I lend my talent to? And I went into publishing. So as you know, I worked at Essence Magazine for several years.
Yep.
I also worked at Young and Rubicam in advertising. And
I have stories about that.
Yes. And I ended up at Grand Central Terminal, and I was on the marketing team for Grand Central Terminal. That's during the time that we had Fashions Night Out. And what was amazing about that, you and I share a friend, her name is Loy Samuel. Mm-hmm. And Loy was...
Oh my God.
Loy came along during the time of Stacey McKenzie, like really strong, beautiful, ethnic models. And Loy is she's amazingly gorgeous.
Yes.
So Loy became a designer at the time, and I was at Grand Central Terminal, and I was heading up Fashions Night Out. My friend Serge, who builds all the staging for the fashion runway shows around the world, he worked it out and built my set. I hosted Loy's first fashion show for The Vessel. We flew in our friends from growing up in this industry. We flew them in from all over the world to be a part of this great, event. And it was the first time but remember, it was the first time at Grand Central Terminal that a Black designer showed a collection by themselves.
At that point. Wasn't that any designer at that?
I think, no, at that a show, but I think they had some presentations.
Right.
At the time, but it wasn't like designated for like Fashion Week, like a show. You know what I mean?
All. Loy was actually
and Beverly Johnson
first.
came. Yeah, Beverly Johnson came, and a whole host of really great people came to support the event. So I've been in the fashion industry a long while.
But that led you to something else. You turned around and you became a chef. And you didn't just, hey, I'm going to start cooking. You literally went to chef school. You went to culinary school. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because ABC News did something on you because of that.
So what was very interesting, funny enough, I was working at Essence at the time. And as everyone knows, magazines turn around every 20 some odd days. And I was working in the business office with the president and the founder. So it was a stressful environment. One of my favorite jobs, I will always tell people. But cooking was like a stress reliever for me. And at the time, the food editor, I should say, Janelle Nash, she mentored me and told me, you do really well at food. You should, really pursue this. So I met someone who was going to culinary school, and I asked her, I said, well, how do I get involved in that? And she says, well, you just go down there and, you apply. And the tuition was out of control. And I figured out how to do a work study program. So I did a work study program to pay for my tuition. And during the time that I was going to culinary school, I entered a contest. And I won the contest with my chocolate cake. And the New York Times called me because, no, I'm sorry, that's not true. Macy's sent me an email and asked me would I be interested in doing one of their presentations in the cellar. And
Wow.
next thing I know, New York Times called me and said we were sending a photographer. The photographer gets there, and it's Colin Williams, whom used to come to my office
Wow.
to photograph models. So it was like a 360. It was universal. And I ended up doing Macy's Herald Square on December 26th, which was one of the busiest days in the calendar year, which I did not know was very successful. And that launched my career as a chef. And I met someone on the train, and he said, "Hey, I'm going to tell someone about you." I didn't know he was a producer. He happened to be a producer, and he was a producer at ABC News. And next thing I know, I got a call, and I got interviewed by ABC News. And then it was Hot 97 and several things like
Yep.
that. So I had a really great career
As a
as a chef
chef.
in New York City.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
then now you have evolved into the arts. Now, I mean, I'm talking about painters. You represent painters, well respected painters. And what I want
Mhm.
to just preference to tell people, you're not just jumping from this to that. There's an artistry to what you do. And that's why I say you're a lifestyle production creative, because you have
Yes.
managed to put everything together, which leads to your gifting, which I'm obsessed with, by Love Jones. And I'm watching it on I'm looking at the screen, and I'm seeing your heart, which is gifted in here, and I want to open it up for my viewers. But now I'm wearing the
Yes.
t-shirt. Tell us about that.
I lived in Southern California for several years, and I owned and operated two restaurants, specialty food restaurants. After that was over, I really wanted to expand my creativity within the arts. And I said, where do I want to go? And I just wanted to go to Atlanta. And one of the main reasons I came to Atlanta is because I wanted to meet Charlie Palmer or even have a conversation with him. Because when I was younger and I used to go to different art shows, I loved his work but couldn't afford it. Right.
Wow.
So I've always wanted to meet Charlie Palmer. And there was another artist, DL Warfield. I wanted to meet DL Warfield because he's a pop artist, like a really cool pop artist, and I love his art as well, and I wanted to meet him. So I said, you know what, I'm going to Atlanta. I get to Atlanta, and it's very different than Southern California. And I meet this incredible artist named Shaniqua Gay, whom I knew of, but her narrative had changed. And she and I became really great friends. And she she kind of mentored me, if you will, if we want to use that narrative. And she says, "Do you want to meet Charlie? He's accessible. Here's his information." I reach out to Charlie. He gets right back to me. And it was
Oh,
unbelievable.
wow.
He says to me, he goes, "What are you doing tomorrow? Can you come down to the studio?" Although I had to work, I said, "Oh, I'm available." So I went to meet Charlie Palmer. And then I met some amazing people in the creative industry here, and it just took off. And I just take all of my expertise from being an agent and being a sponsorship coordinator and creative director, and I put all of that together to create a nucleus for artists. So from successful artists to emerging artists, I sell their work all over the
Right.
world. So I have
Right.
clients all over the world, as you know, that I have shipped art to, that I shop for virtually. And some of these artists, all of them are wonderful, but some of them, without that kind of help or assistance, they may not make it out of out
Wow.
of the group that they're in right now. And there's no reason why they shouldn't, because all of the art here is amazing in Atlanta, which I love. So, of course, my real name is Love Jones, and no hyphen, no space. And I decided, one of the things that we're missing, especially in the emotionally space that we are in now,
Right.
is love and compassion. So I worked on a brand um, for probably 2 years, and I said I want to do things that make people smile.
Right.
And I believe in love language. Everyone has a love language, and I think visually people love to see things that make them smile. So I created these really great T-shirts that are of iconoclasts that I really enjoyed. Partially a cartoon character that I enjoyed as a child, and Black icons. So you'll see those. I have those on the website. And then the leather hearts, I have them also in a fabric form. They are to evoke conversation about love and
Right.
compassion and just make people smile because they're really beautiful. The colors are beautiful. They come in neon. I do a specialty white version, which is called Blanc on Blanc. And that is for gifting for weddings,
Right.
for wedding parties.
Yep.
They also come in black patent leather, metallic leather. So they're really great conversation pieces, and they don't use, although they are pins, I call them pendants. They are affixed by magnets.
Right.
So this one here is our platinum version, and on the back of it, it has magnets, and the magnets hold it on so it doesn't destroy your shirt or your jacket or what have you. And they're very heavy duty, so they stick on anything.
Right.
So I basically wanted to create a narrative of love, a gifting item of love. So when people saw it, it made them smile. You know what I mean?
I totally do, because right now I'm showing everybody the denim one that you sent me, which is gorgeous, and it has a
Isn't
spot
it
of
great?
red, and the red is your
Yes.
signature, and
For love, yes.
I feel this is such a great gift. And for me, the reason
Oh.
why I really wanted to have this conversation with you is, like you mentioned, is
Mm-hmm.
because we're in such challenging times, and how do we show an expression of love? We're forced to be home. We're home more
Yeah.
often than we're out now. Being the artist that you are, art collector that you are, for me, paintings and acquiring a painter with respected artists that you now represent has become my new obsession, and why I follow you, because I want to know who's the next artist that you have that you're representing. And we want our
Yeah.
brides and couples, as they go into their new life and their new home, to engage and figure out how they can include art into that, and
Right.
sharing that. And I learned that from you specifically, because I
Right.
remember when you were here in Brooklyn, when you used to live in Brooklyn, you would
Yes.
have the best brunches, Sunday brunches, where you
And
invited all these
they were
artists.
called Chat and Chew.
Yeah.
Yes, they were called Chat and Chew. Yes.
And this
And I would
is
invite 8 people who didn't know one another.
exactly.
Remember that?
And
Yeah.
that to me is the artistry of entertainment, the art of entertaining. And incited me to literally create a section in World Bride magazine that's called Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, inspired by the
Oh,
movie.
wow.
It's
Wow.
because I think we lose sight of the fact that being married doesn't mean we're dead, that we stop socializing. But in fact,
Right.
it should engage us more with the people we love. So I truly want to thank you for being my friend, my love, and inspiring so many things. Can you tell all our readers where they can find you, and what they can do to get collections from you and information? Give us all your social
So,
media information.
so my website is bylovejones.com. That's bylovejones.com. You can find most of my material on there. On Instagram, I am bylovejones. On Facebook, I am bylovejones, and on Twitter, I am Rodney LoveJones, spelled out correctly. And what I want to add to what you were saying about gifting and weddings and things like that, the art of collecting is a form of generational wealth. And
Mm.
and the times that we're in, and such uncertain times when people are really trying to figure out what they're going to invest their money in, especially when it comes to gifting, instead of buying a home that your daughter or your son may not like, you can buy them a really beautiful piece of art. I mean, working with Charlie Palmer has been really great because I have been able to sell some really beautiful pieces as gift items for a bride or a surprise birthday present for a husband.
Right.
And they really love them. But what I help the client understand is it's generational wealth.
Right.
So Charlie has had a great year. which means that the pieces that you purchased have had a great year too.
Right.
Shaniqua Gay, she's had a great year. So collecting Shaniqua Gay means that you're going to have a great year as well.
Right.
I represent a young artist. His name is Daniel Kirkland, and he's in Brooklyn.
Yay,
He
Brooklyn.
does really, he's in Brooklyn. He does really great abstract type of art, which is beautiful. He has really amazing collectors. He's about to be one of the next.
Wow.
And I'm really excited to work with him. Some of his items are going to be uploaded very shortly, but if anyone wants to get in touch with me, they can always send me an email at bylovejones.com, and I can send them a link to some of his items. But I just wanted to preface how important it is to start collecting our legacy.
Absolutely.
So that, right, so we don't have to buy it back.
Ooh.
We own our own legacy, and it is now part of our generational wealth.
Wow.
So we don't just walk into museums or galleries and say, "Ooh, that was created by a Black or brown artist. I wonder how how I could get a piece of that,
Right.
or how I can take part in that." You can start now, and you can start collecting from street artists,
Right.
because street artists turn into amazing artists.
Absolutely.
So you should never block your blessings, and you should start collecting and gifting and things like that from the art community, because artists need your support.
Absolutely. What
Period.
a
And artists tell
amazing
stories.
way to.
I'm sorry.
I know, I love that. And you've been to my house, so you see all the art that I have, And so for me, right now, Khalid Kadour has taken over my whole house, but I'm
And he's one of
obsessed
my
with it.
favorites. You know that.
Oh, we know that. And
Mhm.
for me,
Yeah.
that's important, is keeping the legacy and building wealth. And I know through real estate
Yes.
and and art, that's the way that we can
Mhm.
keep it. And that's our goal,
Yes.
is to engage our readers. I want to tell you, thank you so much for your time and your energy. And we're looking forward to all your wonderful things. And we're going to tell our readers to make sure that they follow you. Thank you, my love.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye. So, yay! Guys, I want to tell you, thank you so much for all your support. That was Rodney LoveJones. That's not even a fraction of the conversation that we could have with him. He is an amazing chef, like I told you. And what he failed to tell you, he owned a restaurant before this. So this man is well-rounded, and I'm very proud of him. Please follow him on all his social media platforms as well as ours. Ciao, Bella, and stay loved.